It's Lee from On Your Marks Wrestling, a new channel that I've started with my friend Robert Ryan. I'm here with a Raw review slash summary. I wrote myself some notes because Raw is a really long show and I'm going to forget stuff. I watched Raw a little bit late. Full disclosure, I watched The Bachelor and it was the finale this week, so I had priorities. So I wrote myself some notes just so that I didn't lose track of what was happening. I'm going to go through the show and kind of give my opinions or kind of mention things I thought were notable. So the show started off with Kurt Angle kind of calling out Triple H for the sucker punch last week. Angle showed good fire. I hated that the crowd whatted him. I hate whatting. Like, I know that crowds need to entertain themselves, but the what thing is like 20 years old and it should be kind of left to die. I hate it. But Angle cuts a decent promo, calls out Triple H. Stephanie McMahon comes out, says Triple H isn't even there. Ronda Rousey comes out, kind of spooks Stephanie McMahon. Triple H comes out. I actually kind of like this build-up. Like, it's predictable. They do it all the time. But I enjoyed it. Angle actually pointing out, I thought you weren't here. I like that stuff. It all kind of comes to a head when Stephanie tries to slap Kurt Angle and Rousey grabs her hand. And then Kurt and Triple H kind of fight a little bit. And then Rousey actually hits Stephanie McMahon with a Samoan drop or something like it. Which is so nice to see because Stephanie McMahon never gets her comeuppance. And she did get it this time. And then Angle also put the ankle lock on Triple H for quite a long time. So I actually thought this was a decent opening segment. One thing that kind of was unfortunate about it is that Rousey's still kind of getting her feel for stuff. And she was going to announce who her opponent at WrestleMania was. And they kind of did this drum roll thing, and before it even built properly, Rousey just said "you" to Stephanie McMahon, and it just kind of fell a little flat just because it was so quick. And the announcers did a good job of kind of making sure that they touched on it, but yeah, it was a little strange timing wise. But she'll get better at that stuff. I don't know if like it's a natural thing for her. She seems a little bit awkward, but that's fine. And then Angle kind of adds himself to the match, so it's going to kind of be similar to the Cena, Miz, Maurice thing from last year at WrestleMania, but it's going to be Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle, which is a fine match. I think it's kind of, you don't expose Rousey too much in that situation, and then you get Stephanie McMahon, who's not necessarily the wrestler. I think that's absolutely fine. I'm guessing the men are going to carry this match a little bit, and that's okay. So yeah, overall, I thought that was pretty good. I think Rousey, the one thing she does have is she has a really good angry face. When she's playing angry, she's good at playing angry. So we'll give her that, even though her timing was a little bit off. Next was a Asuka Nia match, and it was an interesting match. There's some moves that were odd, but I liked them. So I made a few notes of them. I said, Nia did this kind of, it looked like a backbreaker where she forgot to put her knee up, so she just kind of like laid Asuka onto the ground. It was fine. It was okay. I didn't have a problem with it. It was just kind of strange because she went down to one knee and just kind of slammed Asuka against the mat. She also did this weird kind of like razor's edge type thing, but like a forward razor's edge type holding of Asuka. Like this. That's right, I'm showing you what it was. Where Asuka was kind of facing the same direction as Nia, and then she did an airplane spin while holding her that way, which must be hard on the armpits, I gotta say. But it looked weird, but again, I was kind of cool with it. It's a move I've never seen before. Both of these moves were kind of moves I've never seen before. I don't know if they were botched. Well, I don't think they were botched. But I don't know if they were particularly planned. The second one was definitely planned, the airplane spin. But the first one, I think she just kind of forgot what she wanted to do and just said, this will look effective. And it was. They kind of cut to Alexa Bliss, who I think is the best female promo on either show. either brand. And her promo was kind of mediocre, but whatever, it's what it is. And then Asuka gets Nia in an arm bar, which converts into a triangle choke, which converts into another arm bar, which converts into a triangle choke. That Nia did a bunch of things to try to get out of it, but never did. It's kind of funny because she kind of carries Asuka around, does all these things, bounces her off of ropes and stuff like that. And then when you think about it, it's like, all you had to do is grab the ropes. All you had to do was grab the ropes, Nia. After the match, the interesting thing they did is they kind of gave her the heroes walk out of the ring like they usually give the people who have their last match at NXT, or like they did for Undertaker when he lost to Roman. They kind of did one of those for Nia, which kind of suggests that they're probably going to try to do a face turn, and we're going to talk about that later. I've noticed I've already gone to 5 minutes, so I'm going to start speeding this up. We saw a Revival versus a Bar. The Revival kind of got the jobber entrance, no music. The Revival did one cool thing in it. It was a fairly competitive match, which is nice, because I thought they might squish the Revival, which is stupid. They should be in the title picture right now. The Revival did this thing that kind of looked a lot like Power and Glory's move back in the day, where Hercules would do a superplex, and then Roma would do, I think it was an elbow off the top, or was it? I think it was an elbow. Basically, they did this with a splash. I thought it looked really, really cool. Got a near fall for it. Eventually, they kind of traded singles finishers, and Cesaro beat, I forget who it was, but with the neutralizer. It's fine, but I still think that the Revival needs to be revived right now. They deserve to win some matches. They were the best thing on NXT for about a year and a half, and they've been wasted right now. Injuries kind of played into that. So Kurt Angle, next thing I saw is John Cena comes out to do a promo, and he says Kurt Angle gave him the time to do this promo, so clearly Angle is going heel now, because no one wanted to hear this promo. He basically announces that it was kind of convoluted. It was basically a babyface promo, the typical John Cena, like, I do this, I love this, all that junk. That's fine. Goldust comes out of all people, and it does his thing, but it's not great, but challenges Cena to a match essentially by punching him in the face. It's completely forgettable. Cena wins the match eventually. Now, Elias does a little backstage thing with Angle, where Angle just kind of reveals that he's going to have a match that night. It's a Symphony of Destruction match, and he added a stipulation that Elias couldn't run away. They announced that Hillbilly Jim is in the Hall of Fame. I watched wrestling a lot back in the day, and I remember Hillbilly Jim, but all he was Hulk Hogan's friend. Like, I don't remember Hillbilly Jim doing anything other than that. In recent years, he's been featured in that Legends House thing, I guess, but I just don't know how much actual wrestling Hillbilly Jim did. I'm fine with him letting anybody into the Hall of Fame, but I think like a guy like Rick Martel should probably be in there first. I love the model Rick Martel, and I think he's probably one of the biggest omissions right now in that Hall of Fame. I wrote, they called Bayley in, and she was giving a terrible promo with Renee Young, but all Bayley's promos are kind of terrible. Paige cut a decent promo on Bayley, just kind of calling her a baby and whatnot. It's not too clever, but it was fine. It almost sounded like she was recruiting Bayley. And if that's what they were teasing, I'm okay with that. That's kind of interesting. So Bayley ends up with a match against Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose, the thing I've observed about her is that she's actually good at performing moves. Like, I know she's still pretty young to the job, but she's good at doing moves. She's got some cool looking moves, like that high knee it always looks cool. She's actually quite good at performing those moves. It's just the ring presence isn't quite there right now. So she's not always in the right spot, which means that sometimes her opponent needs to wait for her to get somewhere and things like that, or they just have slightly awkward exchanges. But I feel like she's going to be I think she's already pretty good, and I think she's going to be even better. I'm actually really impressed with Mandy Rose, and she's obviously super powerful. She's very strong, built very solidly. So I actually think she's a really good talent and kind of a great get out of that Tough Enough season. Bayley ends up winning with a roll-up. You knew she was going to win. It was a fine win. She endures a beatdown from Rose and Sonya Deville. And then she gets saved by Sasha Banks. Sasha tries to kind of console her or raise her hand as a winner. And Bayley kind of just pushes her off and moves on. Like that. I like it so much. I think they've been teasing it forever, and I like that it's now coming from Bayley first. Even though Sasha deserves everything she's getting, I still like the Bayley thing. I also love that Corey Graves hates Sasha. I don't know why, but whenever Corey Graves hates someone, it makes me happy. So Alexa then cuts in the back a very passive-aggressive promo on Nia Jax, and it was brilliantly done, I have to say. And Nia Jax just starts crying, real tears, and the crowd kind of reacts to it. Again, kind of making it seem like Nia Jax is gonna go babyface, and I hate that I'm using babyface. I'm not an insider, but whatever. Good guy, good girl, whatever, good woman. I don't know what we're supposed to say at this point, but I like it. I want to pull for her. I like her. So then we get Elias proving that he can kind of play multiple musical instruments. Like, I can kind of play guitar, probably similar to Elias, but that's the only thing I can play. He almost plays the drums. He kind of plays the piano. He definitely plays the guitar, but he's not particularly great at any of them, but it's impressive that he can get by on any of them. So he plays a few instruments, and he just kind of says, like, he's multi-talented, all that stuff. And then he kind of teases doing a performance in the ring. They shut off the lights, and then you see him kind of running away. And they do a great... anytime there's a Braun Strowman thing going on, and this is the Symphony of Destruction match, you're going to get stupidity, and you're going to like it. So Elias kind of runs away. Strowman chases him. Or no, Strowman doesn't chase him down. Elias runs away, and he gets into a getaway car, and he turns the car on, and he steps on the gas, and he doesn't move. He steps on the gas again, he doesn't move, and he looks back, and he sees that Strowman is actually lifting up the car so that the wheels don't touch. And so Elias, the smart thing he should have done is just stayed in the car, wait till Strowman tires out, and then drive away. But he just decides to run away. Strowman puts down the car, starts chasing him. They pop out right where the instruments are. Strowman kind of throws him into a few things. At one point, they get into the ring, and Elias hits Strowman with a guitar really hard. And I know that they probably prepped that guitar for it, but Strowman was bleeding on his shoulder from it, so it looked like it was pretty painful. Then Strowman eventually slammed him down. They got back to the instruments, which were on the rampway, and Strowman hit him with a double bass again, is it a double bass? That gigantic bass that he did the other time. And he also does this great thing where he lifts a piano, kicks out the one piano leg, and then slams the piano on top of Elias. And then he wins the match that way. It was so stupid and so great. It was like, you can't argue with it. It's brilliantly stupid stuff. So I really enjoyed it. The next thing they did was a 50-man Royal Rumble announced for Saudi Arabia. Not particularly relevant to me, unless they make it a TV event on the WWE Network, which I would really like, actually. So that's a thing, I guess. I wonder if the women are allowed there. Getting political. All right. Bray Wyatt comes out for a match against Rhino. Since last week, he kind of destroyed Rhino and Heath Slater. He destroys Rhino, essentially. Matt Hardy comes on the screen, and he basically announces that they're going to do another movie-type match. So you have the ones at Impact. Now they're going to go back to the Hardy compound, and they're going to have what they call it, the Ultimate Deletion. I'm guessing that has something to do with Borash coming over. I'm told that Jeremy Borash, or I've read that Jeremy Borash was a big part of the original kind of Hardy compound stuff and was able to do it on a budget, apparently. So I think, him arriving kind of pushed them to do this. The Woken Matt stuff is just not kind of playing, but I don't think it's his fault. Yeah, this laugh thing is annoying, but I think they're overproducing it. They're putting the like graphic on the screen, and they're doing the back and forth videos and stuff, and it's just, I don't know, it's not working. But if they do the Hardy compound thing and they make it as ridiculous as last time, and King Maxwell is there and Reby Hardy's there, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be good. So then the Miz comes out for the Mizzies. It's the typical stuff, give shit awards to the people that you don't like, give good awards to yourself. It was at one point he criticized Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, and both of them come out, and he challenges them to a 3-on-2 match so it's them versus the Miztourage. They end up. There's kind of an interesting little thing where Balor and Seth Rollins were having a bit of a competitive thing within the match. So you're like, oh, is there some dissension between the guys? But then you realize, no, they're just super competitive guys and they're fine with it. So they're tagging each other in when the other one wants to go for the finishing move, stuff like that. At the end of the day, they win, and Kurt Angle comes out and announces that The Miz is going to be facing both of them is it at WrestleMania? Oh, I might want to double check on me. Then the end of the show, you get Paul Heyman comes out, and he actually cuts a fairly logical, I'm going to say a logical promo where he says, Roman beat The Undertaker, who had wrestled one match last year, and he's talked about it ever since. He wasn't saying that he beat a part-timer at the time. The Undertaker's The Undertaker every day. And he said, Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar every day. He doesn't have to be here every day for him to be the most dominant wrestler in WWE. And it was kind of logical, and the crowd was booing, but they had to kind of acknowledge, like, he's right. And at one point, Heyman did this cool thing where he kind of used some of Roman's relatives' names. So he's like Sika. You might want to Sika something. And Afa. It was okay. Like, I don't think the crowd got it. I think the crowd might have been a little young or a little inattentive, but I thought it was kind of clever. The great thing is Heyman dropped a bullshit, a very clear bullshit. Felt real. So after Heyman kind of cuts this whole promo, which was well, it's a Heyman promo. It's always going to be good. Roman Reigns comes out and just kind of didn't really say that much. Kind of repeated himself from last week, which I thought last week's promo was excellent. But he kind of repeated himself without making a strong point against what Heyman had said. So it kind of he kind of fell flat because it looked like Heyman won, to be honest with you. Even though Heyman was cutting a very heel promo, the crowd kind of booed Heyman throughout, though. So I guess they did accomplish something there. Anyway, that was pretty much the end of the show. Roman Reigns kind of not really standing tall, but standing there, we'll say. So overall, my thoughts. I think the most interesting thing to come out of this was probably the Nia Jax stuff. Turning Nia Jax face makes a lot of sense because she's going to have to face Bliss, but you don't want Bliss to face Jax alone. So now that Bliss and Mickie James are together essentially, which is stupid, by the way. That was a dumb turn the way they did it, but the idea is right. So then you can have Bliss versus Jax, but James helps. So that now you think she has a chance. That was probably the most interesting thing. Everything else kind of fell flat for me. I love the Heyman promo, but I don't think it accomplished all that much. the Strowman stuff was dumb and fun, but again, that's all it was. Yeah, I'd say this episode wasn't horrible. Like, I was warned that it kind of was by someone who's more cynical than me, we're going to say, who also is on this channel. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode, slightly better than average. So if, like, most of them are 5 out of 10s or something like that, realistically, most of them are 6 out of 10s. This was like a 6.5. It wasn't great, but it had enough good stuff that I wasn't completely bored watching it. All right, that does it for the Raw review. I just realized that I think I'm taping my Impact tapings 1 week after they actually air. Like, I've been taping them on Monday afternoon, and I believe that's the previous week's episode. So what I took a look, and I have so many things on my PVR on Monday nights. I'm going to start taping Impact on Thursday. So if I'm going to do an Impact review, it'll likely be Thursday nights. I'm going to be posting kind of everything about a day after it occurs. So in this case, it's Wednesday, and I'm posting my Raw review because I just had a very busy week. I'll be watching SmackDown and hopefully having a SmackDown review up fairly soon. I'll be watching NXT 205 Live, and I'll be trying to post as much stuff as I possibly can. So it might be up to 4 reviews per week. I appreciate people watching this. This was a long video. I will try to shorten them moving forward. But thanks for watching.